and just didn't know if she would get better. I was weak, very, very weak. She had to wake up every day realizing that she couldn't go and do what she wanted, and she cried every morning.
Nothing was being diagnosed. There was no help out there for her.
She pretty much had to find her own diagnosis.
I knew there was a possibility here, that there was hope.
He was my hero. It seemed like everything he did was just exactly what my body needed.
Welcome to The Incurables. I'm Don Wildman. Imagine waking up one day and being unable to walk, not knowing that the root cause of your immobility was stealthily lying in wait, hidden in one of the most common ingredients of everyday life. This was the terrifying situation Jody Tavers found herself in. An incredibly active and athletic woman, she was reduced almost overnight to helpless dependency. A person of lesser spirit might have given up, especially when doctors offered no hope. But no matter how bleak her future outlook, Jody refused to surrender to her pain.
I needed help. I had to have help. I had to have help doing everything. The pain was unbearable. I didn't have any energy. I didn't sleep well at night. I was tired. I would just sleep.
She looked just really depleted, all slumped and colorless and lifeless, like the spark just wasn't in her eyes. And I'm like, Jody, what happened to you?
It actually got to the point that she was in such pain, she could not walk. And it was like, whoa, this is my partner. Something's really wrong here, and we've got to get it taken care of.
The doctor at one point told her to just, she might as well face that she wasn't going to get better. So we were thinking the worst, and it was very dark.
And she starts telling me her story, and it's a story of hopelessness, that nothing has worked, that she's been pretty much given a death sentence.
The doctor really scared me. He told me that the mortality rate was really high, that I was not going to make it.
Jody Tavers grew up in the small rural town of Chabance, Illinois.
I was born as a farm girl. I'm raised as a farm girl on a little grain farm. My dad had cows, pigs, chickens, and we had one horse, and we had a big garden. And we had no bathroom. We took a bath in the yard, and in the wintertime we took a bath in a little sink. We didn't have running water. We had an outhouse. We had a pump that pumped into the kitchen. Mother raised chickens and sold them and bought our winter coats. We didn't know we were poor, but we didn't have anything back then.
Jody married at 18 and had 2 children, but the marriage soon failed, and she raised her children on her own.
I raised my kids being a hairdresser. And I wasn't a hairdresser that went in at 9 o'clock and left at 5. I worked 6 days a week, and a lot of hours.
When she was 28, Jody met Bert Tavers.
What really made me notice her was her personality. Just tremendous, tremendous personality. So I said, I've got to get to know this girl.
Bert became like a father to Jody's children. There was much sadness when the pair split up after many years of dating, but Bert and Jody remained close.
When my son got married, he said to me, Mom, I'm going to have Bert at my wedding. I go, that's fine, you know. So that after they got married, then we got married. We got back together.
It was a dream come true when they got married. I never expected it to happen, but it was excellent.
Over 14 years of marriage, Bert and Jody have prospered, working hard to build a successful dry cleaning business.
There's a lot of work that goes into a dry cleaning business. I was a delivery person at the dry cleaners. I drove the truck. I'm not one of these women that doesn't take the garbage out or doesn't. I do everything.
She gets up early in the morning, 4 or 5 o'clock, religiously, has the willpower to walk, exercise, go to the gym.
I have been an avid walker for 20 years. I get up every morning and walk 4 miles. I get up at 4 o'clock every day and do this.
Jody was just this vibrant, vital, vigorous person.
Despite her active lifestyle, Jody's doctors had one ongoing concern about her health.
I would go for checkups and they would tell me that I had osteoporosis, and they couldn't figure out why I had osteoporosis. They said that the tests showed that I was to the point in my spine where I could fracture my spine.
Alarmed by her bone loss, Jody's doctors put her on prescription medications, but her reaction to the drugs was disastrous.
I ended up hospitalized with, bleeding from the rectum, real extreme pain, and I was like, I'm not taking this. No way am I taking this.
Jody threw away the medication she'd been given and decided to ignore her problems, but her plan proved to be short-lived.
I woke up one morning and I had a stiff neck, really, really stiff neck. But the stiff neck lasted for 3 weeks. It did not go away. And I would have to drive the car like this.
I noticed one day when we were driving, I was riding with her, and she had a hard time looking this way, and she said, oh, something in my neck.
Then I woke up one morning and I couldn't walk.
Without warning, a woman who walked 4 miles a day woke up barely able to move.
I could not walk. It was too painful.
I said, Mom, what's going on? Are you okay? And she said, she just started crying, which blew me away because that's not like her, to cry about health issues or any kind of pain.
She's the, epitome of health as far as I was concerned. To see her like that, it was very shocking, to say the least.
Bert immediately got Jody to their local physician, but the office visit proved frustrating.
So the doctor said, you've overdone it. And I go, no, I haven't overdone it.
It seemed like that physician didn't listen to Jody.
He goes, I think you fell and you didn't know it. I said, I didn't fall. He goes, you must have fell on your hand and you must have fell on your knee. So we're going to give you an anti-inflammatory.
Jody took the anti-inflammatory as directed, but once again, she had an adverse reaction to the medication.
We spent 9 hours in the emergency room, and they said, quit taking the medicine, you must be allergic to it.
Jody was released from the hospital, but she was given no explanation for the cause of the debilitating pain in her knee or her inability to walk.
I progressively got worse. Still can't walk. It's hard for me to get out of bed. Moving in bed was inch by inch. Everything you do is painful.
She had to wake up every day realizing that she couldn't go and do what she wanted, and she cried every morning, also because she was in so much pain and just didn't know if she would get better.
I just couldn't do normal living. Even getting a jar out of the refrigerator, I would drop it. I dropped everything. I was weak, very, very weak.
Throughout the ordeal, Jody's primary physician offered no helpful answers.
He told me I had a bad marriage. I think you have a bad marriage. And I was like, no, I don't have a bad marriage. And he goes, well, I think you need to be on, an antidepressant.
I'm thinking, what are we doing here and who are we talking to? I mean, these individuals, we have to go another route because we're not getting any great bedside manner.
There's something wrong with me. That antidepressant is not the reason that my joints are swollen and I can't, I did kind of, I flirted with it for a minute because I thought, well, maybe it will help me, but I didn't take it. That's another thing in the basket.
Then Jody began losing so much weight that her doctors suggested she might have cancer.
That's usually what you identify with cancer, is extreme weight loss. And that was what really scared us also. Not only her depression and dark moments and not being able to move, but she was losing weight drastically.
You always want to be thin. Well, I did. But this was a thick thin. This wasn't a pretty thin.
Compounding her problems, Jody's pain was so severe she couldn't even navigate her home without a cane.
When we saw the cane, that was just so not Jody, because she was always she would do circles around us. At any age, she always will. So it was weird to see her need support by the cane, and it was sad. It was shocking.
The cane, it was not my style. It really was not my style.
There were times Jody couldn't walk, even with the cane.
There were times when I literally had to help Jody actually pick her up and help her get to the bathroom.
At this time, I started losing my hair. I could feel it when I would comb it. It would just come out. I could go like this, and my hair would just come out.
All of a sudden, I see this relationship maybe changing. Here's my mate I want to be with forever. Me thinking maybe I might lose her.
I went back to the doctor after that. And that's when that doctor told me, point blank out, not everyone gets well, you know.
I was most afraid in the back of my mind that there would come a day when she would give up.
Nothing was being diagnosed. There was no help out there for her.
Often unable to sleep at night, Jody would commonly sit up and listen to her favorite all-night talk radio show.
You can't underestimate, basically, the power of positive thinking.
Steve and Johnny are a married couple, and they're DJs on WGN in Chicago.
One night she heard the host, Steve King, discussing his struggle with celiac disease. The symptoms sounded remarkably similar to her own.
So I called in, and I got to talk to Steve, and I told him what I had. And he says, well, I have celiac. And I was like, how do you spell it? Well, he told me all about it. And then he also told me to go online, and his story was online.
What Jody and Bert read online was astounding.
When we realized, sitting at the computer, that the symptoms of celiac disease pretty much diagnosed what she had, it was almost a definite. Jody knew that's what it was.
She said, I think this is what I have.
It was a revelation because everything that I had, it was all in the basket. The disease was there and the symptoms. So I had something to go on.
She pretty much had to find her own diagnosis.
So now I had to figure out how I was going to get better.
Jody discovered for herself that she had celiac disease. The woman who'd grown up on a grain farm turned out to be intolerant of the gluten in wheat and other grains. Unrecognized for years, her constant exposure to gluten triggered a serious autoimmune disease, and her body turned on itself, leaving her crippled with pain.
I knew I was allergic to wheat. I just called it wheat. I didn't know gluten. I didn't know any of this. I didn't know what the gluten was in the wheat. I didn't know it was in everything. I didn't know that it was in your ketchup, in your salad dressings, everything. It's in everything. Gluten is in everything. It's in cosmetics, it's in glue, it's in hairspray.
Jody immediately changed her diet and became serious about finding the hidden sources of gluten common in many products. For 8 months, Jody seldom left the house, but on a rare outing, she had a chance encounter with local nurse practitioner Ruth Leshen.
She looked like there was no life left in her, and she looked like she was in a great deal of pain.
I'll never forget her saying to me, "What is wrong with you?"
And she told me she was just having a really, really hard time, and she knew she had celiac disease, but her joints hurt, and she just had no energy whatsoever. She just didn't feel like she could get out of bed.
Ruth urged Jody to see a skilled acupuncturist she knew named Frank Urasek.
He publishes the Journal of Oriental Medicine. He's been doing this for 20 years. He teaches also in China.
I said, "Do you think it'll help?" And she goes, "I know it will." Well, I was like, I couldn't get there fast enough.
Jody didn't have a clue what was in store for her when she showed up for acupuncture.
Trained by Chinese masters, Dr. Urasek has learned to use very aggressive forms of deep needling acupuncture when the conditions are as grave as Jody's.
My first teacher, he would take these 6-inch needles and drive them on either side of the belly to the handle. Now, if that doesn't get your attention, it's like skewering a butterfly.
While examining Jody, Dr. Urasek determined she would need the most extreme forms of treatment at his command.
Strong problems take strong measures, and the way I described it to Jody, I said it's kind of like going to the zoo and taking a stick and going up to the gorilla cage and running the stick across the bars. We will jump start your body.
Dr. Urasek began by inserting needles in Jody's immobilized knees.
When the needles are in you, you can't really move because it hurts. And it's amazing how it hurts. It hurts like an electric type of hurt in your body.
Jody would absolutely rock in this terrible, wonderful sensation of stimulation. It was like being tasered on the table.
It was phenomenal. I mean, to me, it was earth-shaking.
With the aid of a driver, Jody returned home from her first treatment, unprepared for what was about to happen.
I got in bed, and I started shaking, scared to death. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not telling anybody that this happened to me because I couldn't stop shaking.
After hours of terrifying shaking, the tremors finally subsided.
Went back to sleep, sweating, woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I could move my knees. I could bend my knees. I was so happy. I was so happy. I woke up that morning and I thought I was cured.
For the first time in many months, Jody was able to move.
I could bend my knees. I could feel I had gone a milestone. It was amazing turnaround. So I was just like, I just felt like I had got the cure. I just felt wonderful. Well, that only lasted for a day, you know, and I was right back to where I was before.
Rather than be discouraged, Jody returned to Dr. Urasek for additional treatments.
I knew there was a possibility here, that there was hope.
To me, he was my hero. It seemed like everything he did, it was just exactly what my body needed. It's the only doctor I ever went to that would stick needles in me that I couldn't wait to get to.
When you bring people to the edge of their tolerance, which you are, you have to have a lot of confidence, a lot of compassion, and let them know that they're in safe hands.
To heal Jody, months of aggressive acupuncture were combined with other healing modalities.
And Dr. Urasek has 4,000 hours of Chinese medicine. And he would have me take supplements that were like colostrum.
Bovine colostrum is the initial form of milk produced by cows just after giving birth.
Bovine colostrum has been proven to be a very strong autoimmune booster, so I got her on colostrum.
Jody also began ingesting naturally probiotic foods like sauerkraut, which help repair the damage to the colon caused by celiac disease.
I started getting better, and I was excited.
After she started seeing Frank, it was almost literally a rebirth because she was like a baby learning to take steps again.
I could see a change in me.
It worked incredibly well for Jody. And
I started to see her just really perk up.
She used to measure her success athletically by miles, whereas now it was a step. But we were excited with every little step. And then as the cane got put away, I mean, we should have had a party for that when the cane got put away.
her getting off the cane was it was one of the most incredible moments. It was like somebody learning to walk again.
I love today. I love waking up in the morning. I can bend my knees. I love getting out of bed and feeling good. When I walk from the bed to the restroom in the morning, it's a great feeling not to have any pain. It's a success story, I think.
Today, I look back on this and I cannot even believe that she was sick because of the incredible transformation that she had. It's been a miracle. It's been a miracle. It actually has.
Jody is certainly unrecognizable today. She's two different people. She is so spirited, vital, and vivacious. Looking at her today, one would have no idea the way she was when she first showed up.
Nobody knows I'm sick. You know, I don't think I'm sick. Wait, nobody knows that I have this disease because I feel like I've conquered it.
Today, in addition to taking long walks, Jody works out with weights to strengthen her bones against osteoporosis. She swims laps twice a week, works on building her core strength with Pilates exercises, And in recent months, she has even begun to run.
Jody today is better than she's ever been. She loves life. She loves what she's doing in life. She loves doing things for her friends, family, grandchildren. She enjoys life tremendously.
Having a food-related disease has made Jody very conscious of the link between nutrition and good health.
I really think that a lot of the diseases that are out today, it's because of the food.
In addition to avoiding gluten, Jody now seeks out foods she knows will keep her body strong for the rest of her amazing journey.
What we eat really can help make it or break your health.
She was always a strong woman, and she's now all the more strong.
My wife, Jody, is proof of willpower, determination, and the belief that you can heal yourself.
Jody's relentless battle to restore her health showcases the power of an indomitable spirit. Her doctors told her she would likely never get better, but Jody wouldn't hear it, and she proved them wrong.